Hizumatsu-san set a mug down in front of me. Mechanically, I picked it up, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted up to greet me.
ミルクと砂糖いります？
A little bit of both, please? I slowly shook my head and he sat down on the opposite side of the coffee table. Really, you take it black? Damn, girl.
少しは落ち着きました？
Taking a sip of his own coffee, Hizumatsu-san spread something out on the table. I glanced over to find what appeared to be a series of newspaper clippings. From there, my gaze wandered around the room. Beyond the dark grey curtains, a masculine color to be sure, I could see that the darkness of night had set in. For a split second, I pictured the woman's baleful eyes peering back at me from beyond the shadows, and reflexively I looked away.
さすがにちょっときつかったですね、あれは。
He folded a knee up to his chest and leaned his chin against it. Evidently he'd read my mind. What if he's a ghost too? Jesus, what if everyone is a ghost? Shit, I shouldn't even go there, probably. He closed his eyes, as if in recollection. Personally, I didn't want to remember it. The dark shadow spreading over that pale wallpaper. Its eyes, twisted with hate. As the memory threatened to rear its head, I hastily took a sip of my coffee. Oh, it's hot. In my rush, I'd forgotten to test the temperature of the drink beforehand. Duh. I could feel my lips and tongue burning.
大丈夫？
I looked over to find him staring at me. The two of us had dashed out of apartment 203 and, without even pausing to lock the door behind us, headed straight for the 3rd floor. We'd already made plans to swing by his place anyway, so I guess it worked out. Now, just to get this right, I thought of this in the past few days when I kept thinking about this game, but I didn't have time to record. Anyway, the ghost is in one apartment, but it's seeping through the other ones. How come when they went to the abandoned apartment where the ghost apparently lives in, there wasn't anything in there? Is the landlady keeping it in shape? Is she... I don't know. How do you remove ghost stains from wallpaper? Is she doing this? I don't know, but it's kind of weird. I'm guessing there will be an explanation for that. Maybe the apartment isn't even haunted and she's just roaming around outside. I had absolutely no desire to stay in my apartment at all. Once we got here, Hizumatsu-san went out of his way to help me calm down. Without his help, I probably would have lost it entirely.
大丈夫。ごめんなさい、取り乱して。
無理もないと思いますよ。俺もちょっとやばかったし。
I took another sip of coffee and felt a hot, bitter fluid warm my stomach. Fuck, I want a coffee now. Finally, I had recovered my composure.
資料見ます？
Oh, hell yeah. Hizumatsu-san gestured at the paper spread across the table. I must have looked notably calmer.
そうね。そのためにお邪魔したし。
Upon first glance, Hizumatsu-san's newspaper clippings all appeared to pertain to the same incident. Okay, which one? Female college student goes missing. M City Mahabara police began an investigation after Yumihara Motoko-san, age 20, went missing on the morning of the 20th. Motoko-san attended J University. According to a friend, she went missing shortly after a phone call a few hours prior, around midnight. Missing college student found dead in the mountains. M City Mahabara, missing college student Yumihara Motoko-san, age 20, was found dead on the morning of the 1st. That's quite a while. By local hiker Fujiwara Shinya-san, age 43. Police have ruled the death a suicide after discovering a rope tied to a tree branch on the scene. As of today, her remains are to be sent back to her family. Holy shit. But even... I mean, sure, hanging yourself is a common way of killing yourself, but someone else can do it for you. M City Mahabara, the very town where our apartment complex was located. I read through the rest of the clippings and sure enough they were all related to the missing college student.
この記事は?
So is she the ghost? I looked over at Hizumatsu-san. He took a sip of his coffee, then set his mug down on the table.
その記事見て何か気づきません？
どういうこと?
I carefully read over the clippings one more time. Suddenly, something caught my eye.
J 大学って久松さんの大学院。
Okay, could we have known that? Hisamatsu-san snapped his fingers.
です。ちなみに俺、大学も J 大です。その記事の5年前、俺は1回生でした。
Which meant he was now somewhere around 23 years old. And we're in our 30s, right? So... God damn, Kai. You can score a pretty young guy. So young. I felt my gaze narrow with a hint of envy. But Hisamatsu-san continued.
結構覚えてるんですけどね、その事件。大学に警察が来たりして大変でした。
そう。
姉ちゃんがあんなことになって、俺なりに調べてみたんですよ。あの部屋のこと。そしたら、ちょうどサークルの先輩にその人の友達がいて、その人、元子さんが当時202号室に住んでたことが分かったんです。
Okay. So this connects. Okay, so she isn't. This is after his sister already died, I guess. And she isn't the ghost haunting the apartment, she's just another victim. Okay.
つまり202号室の怪異はこの事件と関係があるってこと。
まだ憶測の範疇ですけどね。でも時期的にはぴったりだし、妙なことはいくつかあるんですよ。
妙なことって？
I leaned across the table without realizing it, and Hisamatsu-san did the same. And then suddenly the music changed and it all got really fucking dramatic and tense.
一つは、元子さんには自殺の動機がない。その先輩が言ってたけど、彼氏もいて成績もそれなりに良くて、大学生活は上々だったそうで。
I think it's really cute how they call this the perfect college life.
他には？
ルームメイトの存在。
She had a roommate, okay.
ルームメイト？
Roommate? In other words, she shared her living space with a total stranger?
元子さんにはルームメイトがいたらしいんですよ。
Oh god, she didn't. She lived with the ghost, didn't she?
ところが、誰もその姿を見てないし、後で彼女の部屋に入った警察も親族もその痕跡を見つけることができなかった。
So why would they think she had a roommate?
そのルームメイトがいたって。
Thank you, Kai. Yet again, this game is taking my faults exactly.
俺の先輩が言ってたんです。必ず決まった曜日になると、今日は夕飯の当番だからって早く帰ってたって。
Holy shit, that's really fucking creepy. She herself made that impression on others.
彼
Fuck
氏と
me.
同棲してたって線は？
It certainly wasn't uncommon for young adults to move in together before marriage.
ところがですよ。元子さんの彼氏がまたその先輩の知り合いなんですけど、彼女の部屋には一度も入ったことがないって。
Where did they do the boogie? Always at his place? Damn. Indeed. I pondered the facts for a moment. It must have been a ghost, really. 5 years ago, Yumihara Motoko died in a bizarre suicide. She had a roommate, but there was no evidence of another person living there. Was her death the trigger that caused strange phenomena to occur around apartment 202? Oh, so it was... What? It was before? Okay, it was before the thing happened to his sister, but after the thing happened to his sister, he started investigating it, I guess? Man, the timeline is really confusing right now. Maybe I'm just a huge fucking brain lad, but still.
ねえ、元子さんが死んだのは5年前で、202が貸し出されなくなったのはその直後として、部屋で死んだわけじゃない元子さんがどうしてあの部屋に思いを残してるのかしら。
Oh, you're right, she should be in the mountains, right? Except if she was living with the ghost and she was the one keeping the ghost at bay or something? Or maybe she killed someone in here and I don't know, they hid it and then she killed herself?
そこは俺も知りたいところですね。分かってるのは、元子さんの自殺は確実にあの部屋の異常に関係あるってこと。
Yeah, I mean, the coincidence would be far too big for it not to have anything to do with it, right?
あの部屋にある怨念だかなんだか知らないやつは、周囲の部屋に影響を及ぼすほど強いってこと。
さっぱりだわ。
So they are exactly trying to do what I was thinking about. They are trying to connect the apartment to the ghost. Why is the apartment important? Does the apartment even have anything to do with the ghost in the first place or not?
さっぱりですね。
Yeah, and you and me triple, I guess. Since I also don't have a clue. At this point there was nothing more we could really do. We weren't professionals after all. Ghost hunters? But I knew someone who was. A ghost hunter?
翔子にでも聞いてみるか。
翔子さんって？
私の妹。雑誌社に勤めてるの。確かあそこオカルト関係とかゴシップ関係の部署もあったと思うから聞いてみる。
Wow, only in Japan, right?
いいですね。何かいい情報が入るかも。
小さい会社だから期待はしないでね。さて。
I glanced up at the clock hanging on the wall, 7:30 p.m. Evidently, I'd been here for much longer than I'd originally intended.
もうこんな時間。
Yeah, but do you really want to return to your own apartment? Izumatsu-san followed my gaze to the clock.
あ、本当だ。
I'd rather sleep in the same apartment with my neighbor than in the apartment I believe is haunted. Especially if he's such a young, good-looking, cute guy.
そろそろおいとまするわ。論文の邪魔できないし。
Oh, fuck me, you don't get it, do you?
それは午前中で終わったからいいんですけど。
Oh, so he indeed was walking on it. Okay, so it wasn't just a facade.
けど、何？
Izumatsu-san shot me a pointed look. There was a pause. Somehow I knew what he was trying to suggest.
多分大丈夫。ここに泊めてもらうわけにはいかないし。帰るわ。
Okay, $10 on. There will happen something in the night and she will sleep here.
一応携帯の番号は登録しといてくださいよ。落ち着いたみたいだけど、やっぱり心配だし。
うん。ありがとう。
Arigato gozaimasu. Frankly, I was worried about myself too. Still, I didn't want to mooch off the kindness of someone I'd only met the day before.
じゃあとりあえず何か進展があ
I
ったら。
keep forgetting that the time has only been really short so far. So much has happened that you don't even know that it's only been a day since she moved in.
ええ、おやすみなさい。
With that casual farewell, I walked out of apartment 301, feeling ever so slightly disappointed. God damn it, Kai! It's your own fault. You could have just said, you know what? Let's do the boogie right here. Let's get distracted tonight. I'm sure he would have been up for it. From what I've seen, we're pretty cute. I mean, Kai is pretty cute. Of course, IRL am pretty cute as well, but she's even cuter. By the time I reached the door to 201, that slight disappointment had transformed into massive regret. The hallway lights did little to mitigate the oppressive feel of the darkness. The aging fluorescent bulbs flickered overhead, casting shadows over the walls. Meanwhile, the door to my apartment seemed to tower over me. Not that I was expecting a warm welcome. I turned away from the door. Somehow, I couldn't bring myself to put the key in the lock. In fact, I had half a mind to go to a diner or something instead. But...
ここが家なのよね。
yeah, I can't even imagine how horrible it must be to feel like this. An unfortunate fact, though it may have been. How was I supposed to spend the next year living here when I was ready to get the hell out of Dodge after just 2 days? It's easy. You solve this fucking riddle of the apartment. You cleanse the ghost, you do an exorcism or something, and then you can live there in peace. If you kill the landlady on the way, it's probably even better. You can save some rent. Summoning all my courage, I turned back to the door. For a moment, I fiddled idly with the key, rattling it against the keyring. Then, finally, I plunged it into the lock and turned it. I reluctantly put my hand on the doorknob. I had to do this. Twisting my hand, the door clicked open. Gravity pulled my hand downward, and the knob with it. Man, all this talk about knobs. Then I pulled the door towards me and unsealed the abyss. From the door, I had a full view through to the living room. Why don't you just turn on the lights? Relieved at the absence of anything peculiar, I quickly flipped the light switch by the door. Then I whipped my shoes off, stumbled inside, and switched on all the other lights in the house for good measure. Yeah, exactly, that's what you do. If you can see, there's nothing that can surprise you, right? Except if they turn off the lights somehow. While I was at it, I shut both the living room and bedroom curtains. Then, finally, I could breathe. You know, I think this is the exact opposite of what I would do. I would keep them open so light from the outside could also get in. And it would not be like a closed room, but I might even open the windows, because a closed room, in my opinion, is far scarier than an open one. Even if having an open room means that something can get in, why would it need to creepily stalk outside if it could always get in? It sounds kind of retarded when I explain it like that, but just don't give them the opportunity to scare you. And if you have all the curtains pulled and then you peek outside and there it is, that's the big scare, isn't it? So don't even try. Leave it all open, leave every light on, look outside if you want to, and as soon as it comes into view, you just give it a big fat middle finger and, I don't know, insult it or something. I don't know. How do you deal with a ghost? All the media I've seen is that you start by fucking, but that's just hentais, I guess. I should probably stop. The apartment was perfectly ordinary. I'd been planning to bolt on the spot. Had anything supernatural manifested? Okay. But evidently that wouldn't be necessary, so I went back and locked the front door. Weakly, I staggered into the living room and collapsed onto the sofa. All at once my exhaustion hit me like a ton of bricks. Keep the light on, please. My paranoia wouldn't let me relax even for a moment. The way things are going, I could already tell there was no chance I'd last a full year living here.
3ヶ月しか持ちませんでした。
Whoa, are we hearing his voice or is he inside now? The memory of his words sent a shudder down my spine. But no, I would be fine. At least, for today.
とりあえず今日のところは
Exactly. I repeated the words to myself out loud like a mantra, then heaved a sigh, and realized I was hungry. Scared as I was still human.
とりあえず軽くご飯でも食べよう。
After a quick dinner, I popped the cork on the wine I'd bought for myself as a housewarming gift. Don't get drunk. It will cloud your judgment, heavily. One sip and I could already feel myself starting to relax. Guess the alcohol was doing its job. Whether my apartment was cursed or not, surely I deserved some modicum of normalcy at least. With that thought, I got to my feet and headed to the bathroom. The reason I had chosen to commit to this apartment, despite the slightly pricey rent, was simple. The bathtub came with an automatic water heater. What, so the water never gets cold? Holy shit, that's kinda a big deal in my opinion. I've never heard of something like that. Personally, I like to take long baths. Whenever I was stuck on a design idea, I often found myself spending upwards of 2 hours lounging in the water. That's not really healthy for the skin, is it? I mean, Jesus, 2 hours. Hence, a tub heater was at the top of my must-have list. My last apartment hadn't had one, and it was absolutely miserable. Truth be told, I was dying to take a nice long soak, but after everything that happened today, I decided to skip it and just take a quick shower instead. Can we get some CGs for this, please? The hot water rushed over my head, instantly soothing me. This was the one part of my life in which I felt no shame in spoiling myself. Lathering a fragrant shampoo into my hair, I felt my mood start to lift. I feel so sexy. For once I could just relax. I leaned back under the hot water and rinsed the shampoo out of my hair, then massaged in the conditioner. Oh, fancy, aren't we? Then I turned off the water so I could scrub myself down. As the drone of the water subsided, I could make out the sound of the television which I had left blaring in the other room. Okay, if it just now started to say, which I didn't have a recollection of turning on in the first place, then that would have been really fucking creepy. Half listening, I ran the soapy sponge over my body. Jesus, I'm not only craving coffee now. The evening music program was on and they had just switched to one of my favorite songs. Just as I was getting into it, however, I noticed something off. Oh god. It sounded like something wet had hit the floor. I checked the faucet, but it wasn't leaking. Something was definitely dripping onto the floor somewhere. That's not dripping. That's the disgusting sound of flesh hitting a wall or something. Yeah, nani indeed. It was like the sound of a frog hitting concrete. Exactly. Instantly, fear rose up like bile at the back of my throat. I quickly finished soaping up my body, then turned the water back on. Oh yeah, can't stop showering in the middle, right? But the drone of the shower did little to drown out that splatting sound. It sounded like it was coming from outside the bathroom. Hastily I rinsed my hair and body. Just then... What was that? Something touched my calf! Oh my god. Something cold. Startled, I pushed my wet hair out of my face and looked down at my feet, but nothing was there. Yeah, that's a big nani, if I've ever seen one. In an instant, my good mood was gone. You know what? My mood would have been gone instantly as soon as I heard a sound like that. I hurried out of the bathroom, ran a towel over myself and moved into the living room. Hands shaking, I took a clean change of clothes from my clothes drawer and pulled them on, in spite of my still wet body. Sexy. Late night dinner, here I come. Or diner, rather. I couldn't bear to stay in the apartment for one moment longer. Can't you just look for some internet cafe or something? As far as I know, from media, in Japan, most computer cafes even give you a place to sleep sometimes. I struggled into my jeans, then forced my arms through a long-sleeved jersey knit top. I glanced at the clock, 10 p.m. So she lasted 3 hours? Oh shit, what was that? I shrieked reflexively. Something had slammed hard into the window, opened the curtain. That's why you don't close the curtain. You're far more scared if you can't see what it is. I could feel my teeth chattering. Bam! Again. I grabbed 3 things, my wallet, my keys and my phone. Then I bolted out of the apartment and never looked back. I wonder if the other apartments can't hear it.